Hi, I'm Peter. This is the 6th video in the Microbit Made Easy series from Engineering Wonder. In this video, I'm going to teach you what a function is and how to use them when you code your microbit. If you don't have a microbit, you can get one from the Engineering Wonder store at store.engineeringwonder.show. If you like this video or learned something from it, be sure to gently hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. All right, let's get into it. A function is a sequence of instructions outside of your main code that you can run whenever you want. And it won't run unless you tell your program to run it. That way you don't have to write the code over and over in your main code when you need to use it. Let's write a program that uses functions. First, we have to decide what we want to make. I want to express how I'm feeling with the microbit. I want the microbit to show if I'm happy, neutral, which isn't happy or sad, just in the middle, or if I'm sad. I wanted to do this by displaying a happy face and playing a happy sound when I press the A button. When I'm sad, I'll press the B button and it'll show a sad face and play a sad sound. And when I'm feeling just kind of in the middle, I want it to display a neutral face and play a neutral sound when I press both the A and B buttons at the same time. If you've been going through this series, you're already figuring out a way to do this. And it sounds simple, but I'm going to show you 3 different ways to write this code. One without functions, one with 3 functions, then the ultimate one, which will use just 1 function. Each way will look exactly the same way to the person using the microbit, but the code will look completely different. Let's go to our browsers and go to makecode.microbit.org. Sign in if you're not signed in, and we'll start a new project. We'll name this project Emotion Badge and click Create. Since we're using sounds, we can set the volume of the sound we want. So go into music and you'll see a bunch of cool blocks in here, and we're going to get into these a little bit, but let's set our volume. So grab the set volume and put it in the on start, and you can make this any value from 0 to 255. 0 is the quietest and 255 is the loudest. We'll leave it at 255. And we only want to set our volume once. We're not going to change it throughout the program. We're going to have 3 inputs: when the A button is pressed, when the B button is pressed, and when the A and B button is pressed. So go into your input toolbox and grab the on button pressed block and drag out 3 of them. So this will be A, this will be B, this will be A and B. Now every time A button is pressed, we want to show a happy face and also play a happy sound. So let's do the happy face first. Go into Basics and you can show icon. And in the icon there's a bunch of pre-made icons including a happy face. So we'll put that there. Now we want a happy sound to play. So go into Music and grab the tone, play tone middle C for 1 beat until done. So we want to change this. This is happy sound. If you click on the middle C, it'll bring up a keyboard and you can choose any note you want on the keyboard. We're going to play the high A for half a beat, and then we'll grab another one and we'll play the high B for 1 beat. Let's see how it works. Press the A button. And it works great. I can hear the tones. So let's finish with the B button. We want the B button to be a sad face. So grab the icon, and I think they have a sad face icon here. We'll do that. Then we will get our play tones. We're going to play 2 tones again. So we'll grab 2 tones. This one will be the low D for half a beat, and then the low C for 1 beat. And let's see how that sounds. It's working great. Now remember, when we press the A and B button together, we want it to play a neutral sound and have a neutral face. So grab the show icon and let's look for neutral face. Let's see, there's a bunch of icons already pre-made in here. This one's like asleep, confused. Let's make our own. Let's just make our own. If you don't like anything you see here, you have the option to go back in and do the show LEDs and make your own. So we'll just do this. And we want it to play a tone. So let's go into Music and grab a tone. And let's just have it play middle C. And let's make the middle C for 2 beats. When you have the A and B button pressed at the same time, since you can't click 2 buttons with the mouse at the same time, it creates a 3rd button over here in the simulator. So you click that for pressing both of them. Great. That is exactly what we want. If we become happy again, we can be happy. If we're sad, or maybe we're just in the middle. You did it. The first version is complete. This program works exactly how I want it to work. And you could leave it here because it works exactly the way you want it to work. But I wanted to show you some examples of ways to use functions. So we're going to create this program using 3 functions. So to create a function, you need to go into Advanced and go down to Functions and click on it. And there are no functions made, so we will make a function. Click in the box to rename it. We're going to name this function Happy, and we'll do Done. You can see that the function was put in your workspace. So we'll put this over here. I'm going to make these a little smaller. Now we're working with a lot of block coding. It's a little harder to see. We don't need the forever loop. We're going to get rid of that. All right, so we have our happy function. We want to put all of this code in our happy function. So we'll put that here. And now we need a way to run the happy function and all the code in it when the A button is pressed. So if you go into the function toolbox, you'll see this little block here called call happy. This is going to call happy and run all the code in the happy function. So just put that in your A button pressed. And let's see what happens when you press A now. It does the exact same thing as it did before, except you're using a function to run all the code. Let's do the same thing with sad. So we'll go to functions, we'll make another function. We'll call this one sad, and it will put the function in our workspace. We're going to move all of that code over to that function. And we need to call sad when the B button is pressed. So go grab the call sad block there. And then we need one more function called neutral. So go into functions, make a function. We'll call it neutral. And it creates that function. All the code goes in there. Then grab the call neutral block and put it there. Now let's see if our code works. So we'll press A. Happy, very good. We'll press B. Very good. And then we'll press A and B. Neutral. It works the exact same way as our first code, except now you're using functions to run the code. Here's a little tip. Sometimes you just use a function because there's so much code you need to run. It kind of clogs up your main code and makes it harder to understand what's happening. So you can collapse all the code in your function just by clicking this little button here. So you don't have to see all the code. So you know this is going to call this is going to run this is going to run and call this. And anytime you need to work inside of that function, you can just expand it, and then you don't have everything expanded clogging up your workspace. I've got a challenge for you. Here's the challenge. Rewrite this code to show the correct emotion and play the correct sound using just one function. Can you do that? Pause now and see if you can figure it out, and come back for the answer. Did you do it? Did you figure it out? If not, don't worry. I'm going to show you how I did it here. Trying to work out problems on your own is really important to becoming a good coder. So I'm glad you gave it a good try. If you didn't get it, if you did, good job. This was a really hard challenge. So we want to take all of this code and put it in one function. So we need to create a new function. So let's go here and make a function. This one we will call show emotion. Click done. Very good. Now we want to show more than one emotion in this function, because we're going to have to call this function in every button pressed. But how do we do that? We can do that using a variable. So we need to make a variable. Click on the variables in our toolbox and click make a variable. And this variable is going to change depending on what button is pressed. So this will be, We'll just call this emotion, emotion number. And click OK. Grab the set emotion number and put it in the onStart. And we'll just set it to 0. Now we're not going to be calling happy anymore. We're not going to be calling sad. We're not going to be calling neutral. We're going to be calling show emotion with every button press. So you go ahead and put show emotion in there, in each button press. We need a way to change this number every time a button is pressed, so we can know which button is pressed. So when the A button is pressed, let's say we change this variable emotion number to 1. When the B button is pressed, it changes it to 2. When the A and B button is pressed at the same time, it changes to 3. And then it's going to call our function show emotion. And then what if we had an if statement in here and it checked to see if the emotion number was 1, it would play or show or run all the code for happy. And if it was 2, it would run all the code for sad. If that emotion number was 3, it would run all the code for neutral. Here's another challenge. I just showed you how to do it. Can you go ahead and pause now and finish the code on your own and come back for the answer? Were you able to finish the code out? If not, no worries. I'll show you how to do it. I just think it's really important that you try to do some things on your own as well to see if you can figure it out. So we need a way to change the variable. So go into variable, and we don't want to change it. We don't want to add to it. We want to set it. We want to set it to a specific number every time a button is pressed. So when A button is pressed, it'll set it to 1. And when B button is pressed, we'll set it to 2. And when A and B button is pressed, it'll set to 3. Here's an important point. Remember, sequencing is important. The order in which your code is written is very important. So when your A button is pressed, it's going to set the number to 1, then call the emotion. You want to change your variable before the function is called. Okay, so now we have all these numbers being changed when our buttons are pressed. So it's calling the function. We don't have anything in the function yet. So we need that if statement. We need logic. So go ahead and grab out an if statement. We're going to need 3 things to check. And we don't want an else statement in there. So if you create 3 or 4 and then delete one, it'll take the else out. If what is true, we need a way to compare our variable number with a number that we choose. So we need to go back into logic and grab the comparison and put it inside of here. Like I said, we need to compare our variable. So go ahead and grab our variable emotion number and put it inside one of the number spots. So if emotion number is equal to 0, then do this. We don't want it equal to 0. We want it to equal to 1. So if it's equal to 1, it will run the code in here, which we want to be our happy code. So we'll drag and drop our happy code in there. Then we can delete this function. We don't need it anymore. Let's do the same thing for number 2. Grab our comparison block, put it inside the if statement, go ahead and grab your variable, put it in one of the numbers, and then because when the B button is pressed, it's set to 2, we're going to put 2 here, and then we can drag our sad code into that block, that if statement there. We can delete the sad function. If your emotion number variable is set to 3, we want the neutral code to run. So we need another comparison. Drag one of these comparison guys out, put it in there. We need our variable because we're comparing our variable. Oops, that was weird. I'll drag this out. Sometimes that happens. Put that there. Why aren't you working? There we go. We'll put that there. Oh, there. And then drag. All right, now we got it. And we want it to compare to 3. So if it is 3, we're going to run all the neutral code. And then we don't need that anymore. So let's see how this works, if it works in our simulator. So if we press A, we have a happy face. If we press B, sad face. If we press A and B, neutral face. It works, and it looks exactly the same as our first version of the code. It looks exactly the same as our second version of the code, but they're all written completely different. And I think it would be great to try it out on our microbit. So download your code and plug your microbit into your micro USB cable and plug this into your computer. We'll drag that onto our microbit. Once it's finished copying, you can test it while it's plugged into your USB or take it out and make it mobile with your battery pack. Great. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put it close to my mic so you can hear the sounds. So when A button is pressed, I'm happy. When B button is pressed, I'm sad. When A and B are pressed, I'm neutral. Setting your code up like this allows you to add more emotions or actions to your code just by adding more if statements in and comparing it against your emotion number. And if you don't want to see all this code, you can just collapse it and it looks very clean and easy to read. Now you can start to use functions in your projects. The bigger and more complex your projects become, the more important functions will be. In the next video, I'm going to teach you about debugging and how to debug your code.